Hello, this is Dr. Cardillo, and this is a short video about the important aspects of APA formatting. APA formatting seems to confuse a lot of people, and it did me as well, but there are just some simple ways to think about it that will make your life a whole lot easier. It's important to your academic career. You will always have to use it, and so we might as well learn about it. So, APA formatting. The first thing you want to know is this website right here, okay? And I have it pulled up. It is the Purdue OWL. And Purdue OWL is kind of the place you go to when you have a question about APA formatting, about any kind of formatting, but we use APA. So you go to the address, owl.purdue.edu, and then the rest of the slashes, I'll leave that for you online. And then you go down here to APA Guide. First place you hit. And if you'll look here, there are all different areas where you can look into APA. So we're first going to go into Style Introduction. Okay, and that will teach you a little bit about the formatting. And one of the things that you have to remember, look right here, that your papers in APA are always double spaced, which most of you will like, and 1-inch margins on either side. And they should always be in an easily readable font. And APA always recommends Times New Roman 12. So that's always a safe bet, okay? So that's one thing you're really going to want to remember. So once you have your paper set up, there are areas that you need to pay close attention to. And what you're going to do is, once you get into APA here, go over here to Formatting and Style Guide. And that opens up all the different ways you can style your APA formatting, okay? One of the things I want to bring your attention to is right down here, APA Frequently Asked Questions. It's a great place to go to find out something specific. So if you have a question about, hey, how do I cite this or how do I cite that? If you can't find it in all this information, go to the frequently asked questions and they'll answer it for you. So the two areas I want to pay really close attention to are in-text citation and referencing. So here's in-text citation, and this will give you a lowdown on it once you're ready for it. And these are the basic rules. And right here is referencing, the basic rules. But now I'm going to show you how simple this can be. The thing you have to remember about in-text citations and references is that they're married to each other. Okay? Think of the in-text citation as the groom and the reference as the bride, and I'll explain why in a little bit. So why we do this? We do this because when you're writing a reference paper, or any paper for that matter, you are finding information that another person thought of first. Either a scholar, a journalist, someone else has said those similar words, and you're using their scholarly work to prove yours. So obviously we don't cut and paste because that would be considered plagiarism. And I know some people think if they copy and paste someone else's work and then put the citation in, that's acceptable, but it's not. You need to take their words and turn them into your words. And then you cite them as the person who gave you the idea. So here's a paragraph. This is about the Apollo spacecraft that was launched at Kennedy Space Center. And it talks about Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. And I wouldn't have known these dates or a lot about this subject area without looking it up, correct? So I looked it up, and it was someone named Barton, and they wrote this in 1998. So as you see, I took his words or her words, I made them mine. I turned it into, used their thoughts and made them my words. And then I gave them a citation. See, it says Barton, comma, 1998, and you put that in parentheses. And you'll always put that in parentheses at the end of a paragraph where you're using someone else's ideas or thoughts, or you look the information up someplace. Okay, so that's the groom. The groom always points to the bride, and the bride is the references because she's more complicated, okay? So the references are where I go after I read this thing about the Apollo and I think, oh, that's really cool information. Barton wrote it. Let's see where it comes from. What did Barton do? Did he write an article? Did he write a book? So we go to the end of the paper, we go to our references, and I go down, and here he is, Barton, or she. J.K. Barton, 1998. It looks like it was could have been a book, Pure and Applied Chemistry, and it was pages 873 to 879 where I found the information. So now the specifics of how you set up your references, whether it's a book, a website, or an article, you'll find all of that on Purdue OWL. The most important thing for you to remember is you would never just have references at the end of a paper unless you had citations within the paper. And you would never just have citations within the paper unless you had references at the end of the paper. They are married to each other. We use one with the other. A lot of you will be using websites as your citations. I'd love it if you went further than that, but here is a way to look at, let's see, references for electronic sources. There we go. All right, so when you use an electronic source, we always start with an author and then the date of the publication, even if it's a web article. There's the title of the article, where it comes from, and then you put retrieved from, and then you put the website. This retrieved from is important. It always has to be there. Here we go, Bernstein, M, with the date, the name of the article, where it came from, retrieved from, and the website. So this is how you would set up the referencing part of your website. If you're going to cite electronic sources, you would look here. Now, whenever there is an unknown date or an unknown author, we put ND, meaning no date. That's for no date, not no author. No author, you would use the article's name. Okay, so look here. Here's a good example. So they used the website Tutoring and APA, and there was no date with it. So there was no author for that website article, but the name of it was Tutoring and APA. So you put that in parentheses, and then you put N period D period for no date available, and you use that in the parentheses. Okay, so the things you need to absolutely remember about APA formatting is that it is standard. And you need to always make sure that when you write a paper that you are citing within the text. It's called in-text citation, and that citation is married to a reference at the end of your paper. So up here, this happens within the paper, this happens at the end of your paper. As you'll notice here, these are all alphabetized. References are always alphabetized, and the word reference with a colon is put right before you start your references, so I know where to find them. I hope that was helpful.